I just finished watching the Netflix original film Death Note. This is something that I've been looking forward to for a very long time because, I mean, why wouldn't you be excited for this? Death Note is of course based off the acclaimed manga of the same name, a manga that myself and many others really enjoy. So to be honest, while I was happy that Death Note would now potentially become a thing to a brand new audience, more people will learn about the original manga, I was trying to be optimistic, but really I just saw myself absolutely hating this film. And now that I have watched it, I've seen the full thing, I can safely say this was fucking amazing. Was the quality of the film amazing? Fuck no. Okay, was it a good adaptation of the manga? Fuck no. But was it extremely entertaining? Fuck yes. So I knew this would be wonderful from the very first scene. We have a really shitty soundtrack playing while Light is by himself. He's looking at some cheerleaders. Him and Mia, the main female lead, lock eyes. And I'm like, oh man, they've pretty much ruined the source material already. Oh, this is going to be a wild ride. The Death Note falls down, Light picks it up, then they have her run into some bullies. They try to pick on Mia, then Light steps in. Like, now this is the first time we hear him speak, so I'm like, okay, so how are they going to do, like, what would this version of Light do in this situation? Then he screams, he's like, let go! And I'm like, alright, so this version of Light, he's a badass. Alright, we can work with this. And then he tells the bully that if he beats him up it would be considered child abuse. And asks him if he really wants his name on the registry. Oh boy, oh this film is amazing, right? So then he gets detention, and then Ryuk shows up. Like, he doesn't use the Death Note yet, but Ryuk still shows up. And his reaction to Ryuk showing up is the greatest piece of cinema I have ever watched. Holy shit, it was amazing. Was it good acting? Fuck no. Did it follow the manga? Fuck no. But it was just incredible. It was so amazing. Although before I get into more of the silly stuff, I should talk about the genuinely good things about this movie, because there are actually a couple things. People are just going to blindly hate on this movie without seeing it, and I really don't think that's fair, because you can tell that some effort did actually go into it. So the first thing is Willem Dafoe as Ryuk. When I first saw this casting, like, I knew really, even if this movie is shit, this is the greatest casting choice of all time. And after watching the film, I can safely say that yeah, it kind of is. Ryuk is amazing in this movie. He doesn't stay entirely true to his manga counterpart. Near the end he does become more of an antagonist instead of a neutral player. But still, every scene he was in was absolutely incredible. Seeing Light scream like a little bitch when he first shows up, oh beautiful. Another thing I really liked about this movie was their portrayal of L. Because for the most part, up until near the end, I feel like they really did nail his character. He really seemed just like the L from the manga, and I thought the actor really did an impressive job. I also really liked Mia, who was obviously based on Misa. They had to change her name because it's an American movie. I'm not going to rag on them for that because it would have just been fucking weird if her name was Misa. Although they changed so much, she's basically an original character. And honestly, I thought she was pretty cool. I wish they had done more with her. I really wish that Light would have died instead of her, but whatever. I was also invested in this movie. I really wanted to see what was going to happen, and I can't really tell if it was the movie or if it was just my interest in seeing what they do with Death Note. But either way, I was invested throughout the whole thing. Although it might also be because I was laughing so hard, because this movie is a fucking riot. And the problem is that I don't think it was trying to be. So like I said before, this movie is a horse shit adaptation of the manga. And here's the thing, obviously they're not going to be able to put all of Death Note into one movie that's under 2 hours. No one will be able to do that. And I knew that. I knew it was going to be like an original twist on the story. But that's not why this adaptation fails. It mainly fails because Light is horrible. Not only do they completely butcher his character, he's basically a different person, both him and Mia. They're completely different people from their manga counterparts. Light's character was just completely butchered. Nat Wolf's acting really isn't that great. He's just this really edgy emo bitch. And I really hated what they did with his character, because he was the reason why Death Note was so good. He had so many layers to him. He was an absolute genius. But this Light is a complete idiot. He just takes his Death Note to school, reads it on the bleachers, surrounded by people. Then Mia comes up, asks him what it does, and he shows her. He just shows this random girl he has a crush on the power of the Death Note. Come on, dude, Jesus, no wonder how L found you so quick. But here's the thing, as much as I hated this version of Light, I loved watching him. oh my god. It's just one of those cases where something is so bad that it is enjoyable. This is basically like if Death Note was made by the Dead Man Wonderland guys. There's a ton of gore here, all these crazy Final Destination style deaths, lots of swearing, lots of sex, all this edgy stuff that doesn't really add anything to the plot. There are just so many hilarious scenes in this movie, and the movie fails because most of these scenes weren't trying to be funny. I was watching by myself, there were so many times that I was just laughing out loud. It was hilarious. There's a scene near the end of the movie where L is chasing Light on foot, and it was so funny the way they sprinted. It was incredible. L's running, he passes through this restaurant. There's just this random dude there, he pushes his head into the soup for no reason. Like what did that guy ever do to you? He just pushes his head in the soup. Then when L finally corners Light, there's just this random dude there, and L's like, don't worry, this is Kira, I'm gonna stop him. And then the dude just whacks L on the head with a giant board of wood, and he's like, Lord Kira. There's like a dance scene where him and Mia, and they're taking weird pictures. Oh, and I can't forget about the scene near the beginning when L first comes on TV and Light sees him. It was honestly probably my favorite scene in the movie. Ryuk starts laughing, he's like, I'm rooting for this guy now. Then Light turns on, he's like, shut the fuck up, Ryuk. So they do make a ton of changes to the original story. Overall, it's really not that great, especially compared to the original. But there were some things I thought they did with this version that were really interesting. For one, Light wasn't as crazy as he was in the original. He really was against killing people who were innocent, like all the reporters. You know, in the original he just killed them all in cold blood. He even knew that if it came to it he would have to kill his own family, but this version of Light wouldn't do that, and it was actually Mia who stole a page of his Death Note, and she used it to kill all the FBI agents. And honestly, I really like how this film ended. So Light and Mia are on the Ferris wheel for some reason. Ryuk tries to destroy the Ferris wheel, and Mia falls to her death. Light falls into the water, and then he wakes up out of a coma a couple days later, and it turns out that the entire time he basically manipulated how that night would go. He actually betrays Mia here, gets her to die because she was trying to get the Death Note from him. She tried to make him die. He makes it so that the page where she wrote his name gets set on fire and gets destroyed, which I don't think that was a rule in the original, but I don't really care. I thought it was kind of interesting. And Light actually was controlling a bunch of criminals who would show up at the scene and rescue him and deliver him the Death Note. This is the one time that the Light in this film acted like the Light in the manga. Like, this really seemed like something the original Light would have done. But then the film ends with L finding a page of the Death Note, and it seems like he's about to write Light's name, but we don't see what happens. Then we see Ryuk there, he's like, ah, humans are so interesting, and then the film just ends. So it's very, very open-ended. I would have liked a bit more closure. Like, I really would have liked to see what L did. So overall, this was not a terrible movie by any stretch of the imagination. But it was not a very good movie either. If you're judging it as just a film without connection to any other source material, I'd say it's probably about a 5 out of 10. If you're judging it as an adaptation, it's probably like a 2 out of 10. Like, this is such a horrendous adaptation. But if you're judging it based on enjoyment, a fucking 10 out of 10. I love this movie. This is a movie I could see myself going back to, you know, watching with my friends when we're all drunk, because it's hilarious. It really, really is. And I recommend everyone go see it. If you're one of those people blindly hating on the film just because it's American, just because it exists, forget about that shit, okay? Okay, just go into this movie, have a great time. Could this movie have been a lot better? Yeah, definitely. Did it need to exist? Probably not. But it does, so you might as well enjoy it. Thank you all so much for watching. You can leave your thoughts on this wonderful film in the comments below, and I will see you all in the next video.